Hello, mamas, and welcome to Empowered Hospital Birth, the podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth. I am the founder of Looma Birth and Empowered Hospital Birth Online. I am a childbirth educator, birth and postpartum doula, and a mama of 3 beautiful babies. Here at Looma Birth and Empowered Hospital Birth, we believe hospital birth can be informed, supported, and deeply empowering, no matter if you're planning to be unmedicated or fully medicated in your birth experience. Every week, this podcast is here to help you feel calm, confident, and prepared for wherever your birth journey will bring you. So grab a cup of coffee, take a couple of deep breaths, and today, let's get into this episode. This is officially episode 9 of our first season in our podcast. And this is 10 things I wish every first-time mama would know, first-time families. And this is not about giving you facts or more information per se. This is about sharing some of the wisdom and stories that I've collected over 10 years experience here in Southern California as a birth doula. I have had the pleasure and honor of attending over hundreds of births at this point in my career. And I just want this to be kind of blasted from the rooftops, information I think every single first-time family should know, so they are prepared. And basically, it's going to boil down to it's okay to be unprepared because you can't be 100% prepared. So oftentimes, I make lots of comparisons to birth being like building a house. And when you're building a house, you have plans, you have procedures, there are building codes and conducts that must be delivered. And there is a sequence of events that must happen. You cannot put in the windows or electricals before there are walls and floors and foundations, right? There's a process in which things happen. And why that does largely apply to the birth process as well, things can jump around a little bit. Things can look a little funky for a little while. And so it doesn't always go in a linear path, which a lot of modern mamas struggle with. So let's dive into the 10 things I wish every first-time family knew. As I said, this is more wisdom than factual things. Number 1 for my families is that I want you to understand that labor is likely going to start really slowly, and you're not going to be 100% positive. So labor will start slower than you expect. And that is just really normal and natural for a first-time mama because your body is figuring it out. I am somebody who loves my metaphors. As you get to know me, you'll hear me use them all throughout the podcast, my education classes, and as a doula, it is like learning how to dance, right? I oftentimes ask, who's married here? Who had a first dance in their wedding? Okay, great. How many of you took dance lessons? Okay, how did it go? Hopefully there's somebody in the room that maybe didn't take dance lessons for their first dance at their wedding. And you get these funny stories that come out of this experience when I'm teaching birth ed in person. But my point is your body is not going to know instantly how to go into labor, and there will be a lag time as it learns its labor dance. So to complete that metaphor, labor is like dancing, and you're not going to get it right on the first try. There's going to be a slow start as you build comfortable and confidence in the laboring process. So that is something that lots of first-time families struggle with, that they think they're going to miss labor or it's going to be this runaway train from the first moment of labor. And it's really usually not very common. Labor will start slower than you expect. So that leads me into number 2. I wish that my first-time mamas knew and understood. This means you need to be rested and rest up. So when you're approaching your due dates, when you're thinking that labor might be starting, it is not time to go run to Costco and stock your house and everything else and get all of those last-minute to-dos done. It is a time to rest. Resting early in early labor will help preserve your energy and prep you for the labor that's coming. Okay, I know it sometimes feels counterintuitive. We get so excited when labor comes, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, let's go get this done. Let's go get that done. And then all of a sudden it's 11 o'clock at night. You've been in labor for X amount of hours and you're tired and things pick up. That intensity increases, and then it's a lot harder to deal or cope with that labor. So that also leads me right into tip number 3. Is eat while you can. Because in early labor, you're not feeling a ton of sensations. They're really spaced out. It's as easy, and I say that with air quotes, as it's going to get. And in it being easy, again, air quotes, you can eat now. So have that last meal. Enjoy whatever sounds good to you. Get those calories in your body so you're tanked and fueled and ready to go. So when things do start to move fast, when labor does become that runaway train per se, you have fuel in your tank ready to be used. So eat while you can in early labor as it feels right and intuitive to you. Tip number 4, my mama friends, is movement helps. I say this all the time in birth education. Motion is the lotion that gets your baby out. I am not going to give you all the tips and tricks right here, right now on what movements to do, but I'm going to tell you to listen in to your body, listen into that intuition, and feel that movement in your body, because movement will help. It will help your baby descend. It will help you cope with all of those sensations that are happening. All right, we are blowing through these mamas. I'm so excited. So I want you to also know tip number 5 is your mindset matters. Training your mind is just as important as training your body. Okay, so train your brain, train your body for labor, because that mindset, what attitude you go into your labor with, sets the stage for your labor. Are you going in ready for this? Are you going in scared for this? Think about an actor on a stage, right? The performance of somebody who is confident and had been this role before or been in other productions before is going to be so much more confident than somebody who is brand new. Maybe they didn't practice their lines enough. Maybe they're unsure of how to deliver some of those things, right? They haven't nailed their performance yet. Well, they're going to be a lot more nervous, and they're going to have a lot different energy how they're showing up on that stage, right? And you are just that. You have so much energy, and how you show up, how your mind shows up for you really matters in making this happen for you, mamas. So think about now prenatally, when you are prepping for your birth, how you want to mentally show up and how that mindset matters and how you can start to train your brain. I love talking to my clients who want to really create that positive birth experience about we're going to brainwash you into hearing positive stories. And not because we can guarantee it, but because when we believe it, it can help us become it. Mindset is huge in labor support and birth support. Tip number 6, we're going to break all of these down in season 2 too. I'm really excited about it. But tip number 6 for my first time families, your partner does not have to be perfect. So please let go of those expectations. I hope that you know already expectations are the devil in a relationship. So we do not want to have those expectations placed on our partner. We do not want to put our partner up on a pedestal. I say this all the time when I'm in consults with clients. We don't choose our life partners for birth support, right? That's why we choose our birth doulas, but we don't choose our life partners for that. So your partner doesn't have to be perfect. They're going to show up. They're going to be present. They're going to listen to that previous episode. You're going to help train them too, but they're going to show up and they're going to be present, right? They don't have to be perfect. If you have some really clear expectations, the best thing to do is to use your voice to verbally communicate those things to your partner and have those conversations. And I will also say, even though this is about first-time families and prepping for birth, hey, mamas, having those conversations prenatally about postpartum is also 1,001% easier, because postpartum, you are hormonal, sleep deprived, and you have a crying baby in your arms. So talking about all of those postpartum plans should be done prenatally as well. So knowing your partner doesn't have to be perfect, and knowing they just have to be present, talking about what those communications are, what those points are, is really important. I see so many mamas struggle with their partnership throughout their pregnancy for a variety of reasons. And a lot of it comes down to this ideal expectation that we have. So number 7, we are going to talk about your birth preferences and your birth plans. And that is my advice. Keep them flexible, but still have them. Okay. So I have clients that come to me and be like, these are my plans. This is the way my birth will go. Lots of type A folks in my practice. And that is great. And that is beautiful. And I love how much research they are doing to create such a detailed birth plan But you have to understand that we don't know how game day is going to go. We don't know how your labor is going to unfold. So these are preferences. These are plays we want to play on the field, but we got to see how the team shows up, right? We got to see how our opponents show up. And I don't like talking about opponents. I don't think there's other people, right, per se. I got to maybe work on my sports metaphors here. But the idea is that we don't know how we're going to show up on that day. So we have our preferences, our preference plans, but then we have to stay flexible. And now when I say that, that goes right into part 7, tip B, is that don't go in with that attitude of I'm just going to be flexible and see what happens. Because when you are so flexible and you don't prepare, then you also are going to not have your expectations met. So it's somewhere in this middle ground of having your birth preferences and having your birth plans, but keeping them flexible to allow space and time in game day decision. And that's going to lead me into my tip number 8, is that I want you to know that it will all be over. Labor does not last forever. Each contraction will end, and that is okay. It's okay to just be looking for the other side. Some mamas really struggle with that idea that labor will go on for a really long time, or, your contractions are going to be really long and uncomfortable. And whatever that is, whether it's the entire game you need to know that is going to be over, or each individual moment, but you will not be the first mama to stay pregnant forever. Your labor will start and your labor will end. You will not be pregnant forever, mamas. And that is okay to be worrying about that and holding on to those what ifs, but just know that it will end. This contraction will end. This surge will end. This pregnancy will end. So just understanding that there is an over in this, if that makes sense. I see that anxiety a lot in first-time mamas as they're navigating that 3rd trimester space. Okay, and then that moves us into number 9. And this is just more general advice. I wish mamas knew and understood that you can ask questions. Okay, whether it's in your prenatal meetings, whether it's in your labor room, whether it's in your postpartum room, I don't really care where, but you're interviewing pediatricians. You ask questions. The medical team and the medical staff are not gods. They are not there to be the one and only say in the room. It is a conversation. It is a relationship, just like with any other human on this planet. So ask your questions. It's okay if the questions are messy or aren't articulate. You could ask again and again and again until you get to that answer that you want. So I always encourage my clients to ask those questions, to stay curious in the process and what is happening emotionally, physically, all the things, right? Understanding is where that empowerment is going to come from. So getting curious, asking those questions, feeling empowered to ask those questions is such a huge tip. And I just wish every mama knew that they could go into every appointment, every meeting, and ask all the questions, because it really does matter. Okay. And then that leads me to tip number 10, which isn't really a tip. It's just an affirmation and a reminder. You are capable. Okay, mama, you are capable of all the work that is coming your way. And I know this because you are capable of all the work you have already completed. No matter if you're in your 1st, 2nd, or 3rd trimester, or even if you're listening to this, honestly, in your 4th trimester or beyond, I know that you are capable of becoming the mama you want to be. I know you are capable of having the birth that you want to have, because here you are doing the work. You are already here. You're listening to this episode. You're listening to this podcast. You are supporting yourself. You are already curious. You're already asking questions. So I know that you are capable of being able to do this. I hope some of these tips really helped you just feel a little more confident that you are already doing all the things to navigate this space. And I am so proud of you as your doula. I am Elizabeth. This is Looma Birth and Empowered Hospital Birth, the podcast, and I will see you in our next episode. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope today's conversation helped you feel a little more informed, a little more confident, and a little more empowered as you prepare for your birth journey. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful if you subscribed, left a review, or shared it with another expecting parent. And if you're looking for personalized birth support, childbirth education, or postpartum care, I would love to connect with you with a free 20-minute discovery call. You can learn more through the links in the show notes. Until next time, I want you to remember this. You are capable, you are strong, and you don't have to do this alone. I'll see you next week.